What is your American dream?
My American dream is for everyone to just be equal, like no matter your skin color, gender, sexuality. Yeah, I just want everyone to be equal so that everybody can be happy and there's no violence.
My American dream was just to be able to attend school and professionally and, being recognized as a chef.
Fighting for other people, since I know that I'm very privileged in being a white woman in the United States. It sucks. I do have that power in the States, which shouldn't be possible, but it is. So I really want to just do my part today at least and just stand up for other people that aren't like me.
Peace, love, and happiness worldwide.
I just want to live in an America where me and my two cousins can be safe and don't have to get judged by the color of our skin.
My American dream would be that everyone gets treated the same, no matter what their race, culture, creed, or sexual orientation. Everyone gets treated the same. By the police officers, by the politicians, by every citizen. Everyone gets treated the same.
Everyone has a right to the American dream.
Tap, tap, tap. Is this working properly? Hello, ladies and germs. Thank you so much for joining me today here at Spar Bernstein as I practice my stand-up comedy routine. As you know, Brad actually always wanted to be a stand-up comic. And as you know, I want to be just like Brad in every way. So I've decided to work on my stand-up routine, and I thank you for coming together to let me practice my stand-up with you. Okay, first joke. What do you call a groundhog's laundry? Hogwash. Okay, that seemed like a hit. Good, good, good. What do you call a groundhog who eats too much? A round hog! This one could really stump you guys. What side of the groundhog has the most hair? The outside! So that's it for now. Thank you so much for being part of the Groundhog Sam stand-up comedy routine.
All right, yay! All right. Groundhog, groundhog. Groundhog, 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 groundhog.
Oh, hello. Wow, that was amazing. You guys just caught Groundhog Sam's first stand-up comedy routine. Did you miss yesterday's episode of Brad Show Live? Well, in case you did, Carmela Warren, tax attorney extraordinaire at Spar Bernstein, discussed the $250,000 lien that was just put on Mel B. We all know her as Scary Spice from the Spice Girls, and her ex-husband, Stephen Belafonte. They should watch Carmela's segment. She gave them very good advice about this tax lien. And Brad spoke to Dr. Carrie Taylor and Marina Lopez, who put together a new exhibit called La Voces del Low Country, which is being sponsored through the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina. Very amazing. Amazing. And we learned that South Carolina has the second largest growing population of Spanish-speaking immigrants. Interesting. Very interesting. What?
Groundhog! 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 Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 ay. What are we coming to here? We stopped an entire law office to do groundhog stand-up.
Yeah, like
and we actually took people who are supposed to be doing legal work, and we told them to sit in the conference room and listen to the groundhog stand-up comedy. By the way, there was about 20 jokes. Those were the three best ones.
Those were the three
All right,
best,
about 17 really went down into the groundhog hole.
Down into his lair.
Down into his lair. Really was not. And by the way, Tamika, I can tell you right now, I'm going to get an earful from the groundhog later on when you were going squirrel, squirrel, squirrel.
Squirrel.
She does not like it.
He
It's a he, right?
He's
Sam.
like gender.
Because it could be
neutral.
Samantha also or Samuel.
Right. Like,
we don't know.
He's had crushes on everyone in the office.
We
don't
need
know.
to do an investigation of this groundhog.
Of his identity.
Of his identity.
Groundhog identity.
Groundhog identity analysis.
Right.
Seems to be, like Pat from Saturday Night Live like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Androgynous.
Exactly.
Androgynous is the word.
I went to the Spy Museum over the weekend,
Uh-huh.
and we should take Sam to the Spy Museum to find out what kind of secret agent he would be. They do a whole personality profiling.
Before we do
Sam
that, I
is
gotta
right.
find out if Sam's a boy or a girl. I don't even know right now. I'm a little worried
We'll
there.
never know,
We
I
will
think.
never know. So anyway, hello Marsha Whitaker, Tamika Nelson, hello Barbara Lord, Jeff Bosey, aka Jeff number 1 now.
Jeff won.
Jeff 1.
Yep.
Who else we got to say? Deion Watson says hello. And by the way, we had a little technical difficulty, and yes, we figured it out.
We fixed
Because we are
it.
so smart here. Patroda Collins, how are you? Kirk Brown. Who else is saying hello? Jella Shauna, Pauline Williams. Have you noticed it's always the same people saying hello?
Yeah.
That's why we call you Brad Squad, right?
That's
Who else? Marsha Whitaker, hello. Cordella Willery with a good laugh there. And Barbara Lord, I said Barbara Lord already. And who else on Spar and Bernstein is saying hello? Marcia Smelly.
Yeah.
We haven't seen her in a while.
We haven't seen her in a while. She's
Where have you been?
Been back.
Where have you been?
She gave me a sassy response when I asked her that said, I've been here.
I don't believe that.
I didn't see it.
Venice McFarlane,
Yeah.
a.k.a. Venice.
AKA Venice. We don't
Right,
know.
we don't know. Barbara Hammett, hello, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
Hayden Thomas, do we know Hayden?
We don't know him.
And Diaz Quell.
Diaz Quell is,
We know.
in and out. In and
Shar
out.
Sharwali,
Shar Wally, we
watching
know.
from the U.S. Embassy in Jamaica today, and I
Oh, I
told two persons to contact you. Wow, very much. Who? Shar Sharwali works at the U.S. Embassy in Jamaica?
No, I believe Shar Wally is there on official
Just on
immigration
official
business. I'm assuming.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anna Neal Martin, hello.
Ifeawana is new.
Oh, very
Oh,
nice.
Alec Nokenberger wants to know, can I be part of the Brad Squad? You gotta comment, you gotta participate, you gotta engage with us. Why do you want to be a member of the Brad Squad?
Let me tell you something. There is no secret vote, okay? As soon as you start talking in the comment section, you become Brad Squad. There's no secret,
really-
we're gonna go into the back room and we're gonna vote on you. That's not happening, okay? Just start commenting.
Yeah.
It just envelops you, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The family accepts you
Correct.
as their own.
And then they start saying, hi, how are you? Welcome.
And there
We're
it
very
is.
welcoming here. Ifeawana.
Yeah.
We know Iffy?
We don't know Iffy. Iffy's new.
And what about Ali Boo Harris Morgan?
Ali Boo Harris, we know.
We know.
Ali Boo's a question asker.
Xavier Boss.
Xavier Boss Johnson.
We know.
And he always
Right.
compliments
Carlene
me, so I
Cumbert,
like
how are
him.
you? Ver Fullerton.
I don't know.
I've never met Ver Fullerton before, but
Neither
hello
have I.
and welcome to Brad Squad. How are you?
Hi.
Shio Doman, hello. And Javel Finklin. Brad Squad it is.
Javel, we know.
Right. And Carlington Reese. Christy Consali. She's usually first in there. She was a little late today, but it could be our fault because we had a problem.
We were a little late,
Right.
so.
Sam thought the wires were spaghetti again.
Again. Jeff said that we got to tell Alec about the Brad Squad membership cards. The very exclusive membership cards.
There is no membership card, but what you do get is a mug. Okay? And if you are walking around on the streets and have any problems with anybody, just walk around with the mug.
Whip out
Just
your
whip
mug.
out the mug. It's like, don't mess with me. It's Brad Squad, all right?
And Brad Squad, before you start killing me why you haven't received your mug, they're going out in batches. And
Have we been sending them out
We
yet?
have been.
Who got mugs so far?
They have been sent. No one has received them because the company is slow. But
They
the
are
ones
going
that have
out.
been sent include.
We have paid
Tamika
for them.
Nelson. They
have
are
been
paid
paid
for. They
for.
have been shipped.
They have been
even.
shipped
Yeah.
and paid for.
Yeah.
And Brad Squad, all you got to do is request a mug, and Belgium Kim will make sure she sends it to you. But this is the deal: you got to take a selfie with the Brad Show Live mug, and then you become official.
Show your
with
mug with a
official
mug.
official merch.
Yeah.
Right. You need to take your selfie with the official merch.
Mug with a mug.
A mug with the mug.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Mug with the
mug.
mug.
with the mug. That's our little segment now.
Yeah.
And we will post it on not only on social media, but maybe on Brad Show Live as well. So meanwhile, we are going to be answering your immigration questions. There's 12 open lines right now. 12 of them. Nobody has called with an immigration question, Belgium, Kim.
What?
We may have exhausted every immigration question, but in 8 minutes, hopefully somebody will call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. This show is not just about saying hello to our friends. The show is actually about helping people. So if you call right now, we will get you on our show. We will be answering your immigration questions. And the telephone number to call right now is 1-800-529-5465. 1-800-529-5465. Perhaps I need to restart my thing because they say people are calling, but I don't see.
Ooh.
And I'm getting all sorts of exceptions here. So let's try this one more time. They are fixing the lines right now. I'm told Sam has gone from the control room.
New spaghetti.
He got kicked out of the control room, and we sent him or her to go answer the telephones, and somehow he started chewing on the wires over there, and we are having problem with the telephones, but I am told it will come up very, very shortly. In the meantime, I have plenty of news to talk about, and maybe what we will do is we'll do it in reverse today. Usually we go to the phone lines first and then go to social media.
Yeah.
But if our phone lines aren't working, maybe at 6 o'clock, what we're going to do is we'll do social media first.
Okay.
And then go to the phone lines. How is that?
We can do it, Brad.
We
We're
can
flexible.
do it. Meanwhile, if this is true, this is a bombshell. I don't know if this is true, but Stormy Daniels' lawyer claims that in a Trump Tower meeting, Michael Cohen requested millions of dollars from the Qatari investor fund, which is basically the emirs of Qatar, to pay Trump family members in that infamous meeting that apparently they were talking about Russian adoptions.
First adoption, and then it was like, well, not really.
I don't know.
Wow.
His sales pitch, according to Stormy Daniels' lawyer, Cohen's sales pitch was, I have the best relationship with the president on the outside, and you need to hire me, which is why all these different companies were hiring him. I'm going to tell you something. It just stinks and stinks more every day. Every day.
It's hard to say where there's much smoke.
Every day. It stinks every day. It stinks more and more down there in that.
How many days would you say it usually... Are you not wearing jeans again, Brad?
I am not wearing jeans again.
I
have problems. We have problems, Houston.
This is what happens.
Houston, we have problems. Oh my God!
Jeansless. You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, I gotta stop wearing underwear under the.
Is that the issue?
It's the underwear issue.
It's the underwear issue.
Yeah, because it doesn't hook onto the underwear properly.
I have to be honest. I greatly appreciate that you wear pants in general.
Yes, right. It's the boxers versus briefs problem, and that's where this all comes in.
Not a problem I'm familiar with, Brad.
What? It's not a problem. We'll fix it though. So meanwhile, what else is happening here? Net neutrality rules. The Senate passed. This is something that we should all actually be very, very concerned about. FCC under Donald Trump eliminated net neutrality. So what does that mean? That means that your internet provider ultimately can charge you whatever they want for whatever speed they want. So let's say, for example, you want to watch Brad Show Live and not have it be interrupted.
Right.
Okay? Either it's possible down the line that, and it has nothing to do with Brad Show Live, but it has to do with your broadband provider. They may say, you want to watch Brad Show Live? Pay us $10 a month, or Brad Show Live is coming in really, really slow. You want to watch Netflix? Pay us $20 a month. You want to, and it's going to end up being like almost like cable TV was, where you had to buy bundles to get the programming.
Right, you've got the premium and the basic cable. Yeah.
Correct. And under Obama, there was net neutrality where they weren't able to do this. Now, we haven't seen those bundles come out yet, but it should be coming out eventually.
Right.
The Senate passed a bill saying that broadband providers cannot do this, but they say the House is unlikely to pass it. Now, Nancy Pelosi, whose name is not very well liked in many circles.
True.
She tweeted her thoughts about this, and she wrote, hashtag net neutrality means you can use the internet how you see fit, even if that's debating about Yanni and Laurel. Now, I have no idea who this Yanni and Laurel people are. Kim had to explain it to me ahead of time. Does anyone in Brad Squad know who Yanni and Laurel are?
Jeff weighed in before he knew we were going to cover this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's go. Why don't you explain Yanni and Laurel while I hook myself back up to my briefs?
Okay. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's a little TMI, but...
That is, in terms of social media
Yes.
TMI. So what really happened was that there was this one voice recording that came out, and it turned out that, do you remember the dress? It was like in 4 or 5 years ago, and it was, people were seeing black or blue, and other people were seeing white and gold. Same thing is happening with audio. Some people are hearing Laurel, and other people are hearing Yanni.
Let's listen to this and see. Do we have a listening?
Laurel.
Sounds like Laurel to me. Let's say it one more time. One more time.
Laurel.
It says Laurel. I don't even think there's a debate there.
I want to know what Brad Squad thinks. What do you guys hear? Do you guys hear Laurel or Yanni? The first time I heard it, Brad, I only heard Yanni. I heard Yanni like 15 times.
Really?
And then I watched a video that explained why or how the bass frequencies were different. And since watching that video, I have only heard Laurel since. I don't understand how it could ever be Yanni now that I hear Laurel.
I hear Laurel. I have no idea why this is even a debate, and who cares?
Yeah, I mean, the people are caring. So many people have weighed in on it.
Do we have our telephones working, by the way, Jill? Not yet. So meanwhile, back on the farm in Hawaii, if you noticed that the Hawaiian volcano, I don't know if you've noticed or not here from New York.
I have
You have not noticed here from New York, but I've noticed.
Yeah.
It is spewing out. Do we have pictures of it? We have
do.
a picture of it. There it is. Spewing out fire and ash. And the ash and smog now has rose to over 12,000 feet. It is now red alert in Hawaii. Red alert does not mean it's high suntan, put on some sunscreen, You would think, like, you go to Hawaii, we have a red alert today. Yeah. You better put on some sunscreen, right? That's what I would think red alert in Hawaii means.
Not the sunscreen.
Not this. No, this is real. Red alert means that you can't breathe and planes can't fly through. That's what's going on in Hawaii now. It's like the end of the world going on in Hawaii right now. So ash is now a hazard on the Hawaii's Big Island. They're grappling with the gas and the lava, and now the ash up in the air. They say it's not poisonous. I don't buy it. I say it is poisonous. I don't believe.
No, it's definitely
whoever
poisonous.
them is.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
Yeah.
When there's gas coming up from the middle of the earth.
Masks. Yeah.
Okay. When there's gas coming up from the middle of the earth, like where you would think hell is. Okay. I mean, I don't know where hell is, but I think it was in the middle of the earth. That's what I would think.
The core.
All right, the core. That's where the hell is.
That is hell.
And the ash is coming up. I would say that's poisonous. I don't buy it.
No, fake
They
news.
say don't worry about it. It just make you cry a little bit.
Just take that deep breath in.
Don't take that deep breath in. It'll make you cry. That's all it says here in the news. It's perfectly safe. I don't buy it.
Do you know what people aren't buying for real, Brad? I'm truly shocked reading the comments right now.
What are they saying?
Everyone is saying Yanni. Except
They're saying
Jeff,
Yanni?
You, me, and Jeff hear Laurel. Everyone else hears Yanni.
Can we play it one more time, or are we going to get thrown off of Facebook?
No, we've only played it twice.
Let's play it one more time. Yeah. No, it's 4 seconds.
Jill just said she heard Yanni. She's been hearing Laurel all day too.
Last time.
One more. Yeah, no, we can because three clips is 4 seconds. So we've played 3 clips. So far we've played 4 seconds of it.
We have 6 more seconds to go.
We could. But
we have 6. Just so everyone in Brad Squad knows, once you play over 10 seconds, they throw us off.
Yeah.
That's the law.
Each Laurel/Yanni is 1 second long.
All right, let's play it one more time.
Laurel.
I'm sorry, I do not hear Yanni whatsoever.
Yeah, everyone is saying Yanni.
I am not hearing. I am not hearing Yanni.
Every single human in our.
What humans hears Yanni?
Carol Anderson, Lisa Bling Rose, Nicolika Peach, Beverly Thompson, Ruth Denton hears Laurel. Thank God.
Tamika hears Yanni.
Yeah. Dionne Watson, I believe, said that she heard.
Right, and now Patrona Collins wants to know what Sam thinks.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
asking a puppet whether we
does
hear.
Sam hear?
We're
It's a
asking
good
a puppet.
question.
Let's ask the puppet if he hears Yanni or Laurel.
Sam, tell us in the comments
Mac
what you
Ellis
hear.
says clearly Yanni. Everyone hears Yanni, and I hear Laurel.
So one theory is that younger people hear higher frequencies and older people hear lower frequencies. But by younger, it's like anyone
Is that the
younger
theory?
than 25. No, because it goes all the way.
Because
it doesn't matter.
Tamika's not 18 years old. I
Right.
mean, I'm not gonna,
We're not gonna put her on blast.
Put her, yeah, exactly. But
Yeah. Cece Mitchell, Yanni. They're all saying Yanni. How do you guys hear Yanni? I heard it this morning, though. I get it.
All right, let's try one more time.
Yeah. The Great Divide.
Laurel.
I don't even hear Yanni at all. I'm sorry. I don't hear it.
Wait, Jeff just said the last 2 times you guys played it, I heard Yanni. This is such BS.
No, I hear Laurel.
What is the world coming to?
I have
you
no
guys?
idea what anybody's listening to.
I feel like my brain is exploding with this.
All right. The world is coming to an end because I hear Laurel, everyone else hears Yanni, and hell is coming out on the big island of Hawaii.
I told you it was a
All right,
contentious
let's go back
thing.
to Hawaii. Let's see what hell looks like. There it is.
Speaking of hell.
Speaking of hell, it's red alert on Hawaii.
Right.
All right, and they say it's okay to breathe in the hell that is coming out of the volcano.
That's not possible.
I don't buy it.
There's no way. No.
I don't buy it. All right, so did you see it's prom season?
Ugh.
Right, for the younger generation, it is prom season. I remember I went to my prom.
Who'd you go to prom with?
I went with somebody somewhat famous, but I won't go through it.
Okay.
I won't go through it right now.
Did you go to 2 proms or 1 prom?
I went to 1 prom, but I ended up with 2 dates at the prom.
Oh.
When we were in the when we were in the limousine, we switched.
What do you mean by you switched? Like
Me
we
and my
made a
friend,
verbal...
I was flirting with
his date.
His date.
Right.
My friend was flirting with my date, and then the 4 of us looked at each other and say, "We switched."
Yeah, this
True
is
story.
better.
True story.
Oh man, kids are so flexible.
Very flexible. Back then I was very flexible. Now I got a tummy,
Yeah, you can't touch your toes
my
anymore.
hamstrings hurt me. It's a whole different story. But back then I was very flexible.
Very flexible.
So meanwhile, this girl Allison Kloss, she's a teenager in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and it was very sad. She did not get invited to the prom, but she wanted to go, and she didn't want to go single.
Okay.
So what she did was she bought a cardboard cutout of Danny DeVito and put him on wheels and brought him to the prom as the date.
Yes,
and I
queen.
swear to God, the 17-year-old attended the big dance last Friday night with a cardboard cutout of Danny DeVito on wheels. And she said that she was the hit of the party. Everybody wanted to take a picture with her date. And then people wanted to dance with Danny DeVito, but she wouldn't allow anyone to dance with Danny DeVito because she felt that Danny DeVito may fall apart on the dance floor.
He could break.
He could break. He's very fragile, Danny DeVito. So she went with somebody famous as well. She will always be able to say, I had a very famous... Now, why did she pick Danny DeVito?
Right.
Why not pick, like, Brad Pitt?
Because that would have been a sad cutout.
Why not pick Bamba John?
Oh, you could have picked Baba John. That would have been a good statement.
Right?
Dreamers go to prom too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't, because I feel like it had to be somebody comical.
Who would you pick? I assume there's more. I mean, I assume if you can get a cardboard cutout of Danny DeVito, you can get a cardboard cutout of anybody.
Pretty much
All right,
anyone.
who would you pick?
Oh.
And put on wheels to go as a date.
Put on wheels to go as my date. I'd go with a comedian. Like I would go with like a I was gonna say Louis C.K., but I can't say that anymore because that would be bad. But yeah, like I would pick a comedian, like a Danny DeVito. I would choose Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm lying. I would choose Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You would pick like a 70-year-old man to go on the prom date
I
with.
would.
Like this young lady.
A cutout. You can't choose someone hot. If you pick someone hot, it's sad.
Not funny.
It's just sad. Right.
Right. So you would have to pick somebody.
Yeah. You'd have to pick like I would go with Amy Schumer, like an Amy Schumer cutout.
Okay.
That would be a super cute
Right.
one. Any member of SNL,
Right.
a Colin Jost cutout would be really great.
Any short comedian, basically. The shorter the comedian, the funnier.
The shorter the better.
Right?
Right, yeah,
Right, like
100%.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. Oh,
Kevin Hart would be funny.
But Kevin Hart's cute.
He's cute, though.
Kevin Hart's real cute. He's got that cute little face about him.
Right.
Who would you pick, Brad?
Who would I pick?
Yeah. Cardboard cutout of anyone.
Well, you see, I wouldn't pick somebody funny.
To go to. Who would you pick? Someone hot?
Yes.
Who would you pick?
I don't know. I haven't really given it any thought.
Well, you put me on the spot.
I know, but that doesn't mean I have to answer the question too. I don't know.
That's
I'll
why
think
it's called
about
Bradshaw
it.
Live.
All right, so we don't have Denzel Washington.
Oh yes.
Oh, Tamika says Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson.
Yes, of course.
Obviously.
Do we have are our phone lines working yet or no? All right, so let's go to social media check-in. We're going to have to answer all your immigration questions on social media check-in today, unfortunately. We don't have the ability to take calls, so let's see what we got on social media check-in, Belgium Kim.
Whoop. We got a question from Colette who said, I have a friend who's been married since February.
By the way, Kevin Hart is not a midget. We don't like to use the word midget.
No, that's hateful.
That's hateful. We like to use the word short person.
Short person,
Right,
exactly.
right.
Little person.
He's not a short person.
No,
he's
just short.
just short.
He's
just height.
And I mean, challenged.
Challenged.
He's vertically challenged.
Vertically challenged. That was what I was looking for.
But he's not even, I mean, he's short for a dude, but he's like 5'6", 5'7". He's not that short.
That's
I'm
me.
5'8". No, you are not 5'6".
I'm not 5'6".
You're definitely not 5'7" either. You're
I'm
taller than I am.
5'8".
Right, you're taller than I am, right.
You're not 5'8".
I'm 5'7" and a half.
Okay, so I'm like just like
You're a smidge.
like I'm a smidge taller.
You're a
than you.
hair taller than I am.
I am a hair. A hair on a tippy toe hair.
One hair taller
Right.
than me.
I am taller than Groundhog Sam. I will tell you who I'm taller than on the team.
Okay.
Okay.
This is a good game.
I'm taller than Groundhog Sam.
You are?
I'm taller than Brittany.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
Brittany is like 4'3".
I'm taller than Pat Rice.
You are.
Right. Yo-Yo's taller than me by far. He's very tall.
Right. Mutali also
Mutali by far.
significantly
Jilly Bean is taller than me.
taller. Ooh, Jeff said he would bring a cutout of Audrey Hepburn.
Oh, very good, Jeff 1.
Ooh.
What happened to Jeff 2, by the way?
I have not seen Jeff 2. Jeff
Yeah.
Lawson, make yourself known
Yeah.
in the comments, please.
All right, let's go. All right, let's go back. Let's start again now. All right, and I apologize because we're having phone difficulties, so we can't take anybody's call. Leave your immigration questions online. We're going to go to extended social media right now. Let's go play back the social media thingamajiggy again. And now we're going to do social media check-in. Belgium Kim's going to ask all of your questions right now. What is it?
Colette has a friend who's been married since February. She's been living with her spouse for over a year. He's now threatening to abandon her. Not sure if he's going to ask for a divorce or not. They haven't filed anything yet. Is there anything that she can do?
No, I mean, there's no law that says you have to sponsor your spouse. If the spouse hasn't filed for you and they leave you or divorce you, well, then you got to figure out another way to get a green card. Except if you're an abuse spouse, or maybe everyone always says you can file abandonment, and people get that confused all the time. If you're going from nothing to a 2-year green card, there's no filing for abandonment. There is your spouse files for you and you show up to an interview and prove it's a real marriage, or you prove abuse. If you have a 2-year green card and you're going to a 10-year green card, you may always hear me say get a divorce. Yes, then you can base on abandonment. I got divorced. I was in a real marriage. I'm now divorced. Let me prove it's real. So those are two different things.
Got it. Bahira says, if you're in the U.S. legally and haven't overstayed your time, could your spouse apply for a fiancé visa for you, or would you have to go back home first?
Why would you? You're here already. You don't need a fiancé visa. Fiancé visa is to come to the United States to get married. You're already here. If you're here for more than 90 days on a visitor's visa, just go get married and file the adjustment. Right here. You won't leave. Next time you leave is with a green card to go home.
Sprout says, I'm an F2A category and did my interview 13 days ago. I was asked for additional documents, which I sent in 2 days after my interview. And I checked my case online and saw that I've been changed from administrative processing to ready. What does that mean?
He went on his interview?
Yeah.
And don't everybody always reads online. Don't read what's online. Okay, you went for an interview. If administrative processing is done, that means they are ready, and ready means they're about to give a decision. They will be giving a decision. Expect a decision in the next 30 days. Hopefully it's successful. I just want to remind somebody that our ticker should not be saying call 1-800 because our telephone lines, maybe change the ticker today, are not working.
Right.
Right.
Leave those social media questions.
Oh, no, leave it. Leave the number. Because Sam just gave me a little attitude. He says, we're trying to work it out, all right? Just relax yourself a minute and keep answering the questions.
I mean...
That was basically what Sam just said to me.
Sam had to speak some truth there for a hot second.
A little attitudinal on Sam's part there.
you know he's got a big attitude,
yes.
though.
All right, so leave it, Sam, okay? Just keep chewing on those wires. See what happens.
It's all spaghetti.
Yes.
That was so cute. And now everybody, every time we have a technical issue, they
Everyone's
already
like
know.
the spaghetti.
It's spaghetti.
People listen.
They know. So Sprout just does not listen to what it says online, even though he had the interview and then he sent in additional evidence.
Yeah, I mean, what more can you say? You went for the interview. You sent in the additional evidence. They're done with the processing. Case is ready. Ready means they're going to make a decision.
We've got a question from Randy who says, how does work sponsorship go? What's the procedure?
Well, what is the work that's sponsoring you? Are they sponsoring you for a work visa or for your green card? The procedure for a green card is they got to run ads in the newspaper, prove that you're not taking a job away from an American worker, file what's called a perm application. That's getting a green card. Getting a work visa is different depending on what work visa you qualify for. But it always starts with an employer sponsoring you. Start before that by calling a good lawyer.
We've got a question, from Diana, who said, can anyone apply for permanent residence in the U.S., or is there some sort of prerequisite to applying for permanent residence or a green card?
Yeah, there is a prerequisite. You got to qualify for a green card. So it's going to be family sponsorship, employment sponsorship, investor sponsorship. Perhaps you're a religious worker. Perhaps you got married. Perhaps political asylum. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on. But you have to qualify somewhere to get a green card. You just can't say, oh, I'd like to be a permanent resident today. Where do I apply?
Sign me up.
Sign me up.
Queen D says, when someone gets an advance parole and a work permit card, how often could they travel?
As much as they want, but it's not how much you travel, because you can travel every week and come back. It's don't stay out of the country for more than a week or 2 weeks at a time. All right? So it's the length of time out of the country that matters more than how often, but you can travel as much as you want.
Brown Eye Nikki says, can someone who has a felony file for you?
Yes, as long as the felony is not for child sexual predator, anything sort of child sexual predator thing. Then you need an Adam Walsh waiver. Otherwise, with a felony, you absolutely can. I see here, and by the way, everybody, please leave your questions on social media right now. Our phone lines are having a problem. Lisa Bling Rose says, Sam been eating the phone wires. Apparently, that's the case.
Yeah, Venice said, it's a shame that you guys don't feed Sam and he has to keep eating wires. Poor Sam.
Yeah, we're very mean to Sam.
Oh, man.
We are mean to Sam.
I feel like somebody is going to start calling PETA on us.
Yes.
Sam.
Yeah, they're going to think like Sam's like a real animal.
Yeah, I kind of want, I hate to say this, but you guys, Sam isn't a real groundhog, okay? Right. He's fine. We're not mistreating him. We've got a question from Colette who says, what constitutes abuse? Her husband hasn't been physically abusive towards her. However, he's borrowed from her and refused to pay her back. And he's very verbally abusive and threatens to call ICE on her on a regular basis.
That could be abuse. I mean, it depends on what he says, how he says it, in what context, how often. Verbal abuse in some forms can be extreme and as hurtful as physical abuse. So we would need to actually sit down with you. We literally spend 45 minutes going through what he said, how he said it, how it made you feel, and how we would be able to demonstrate all of this.
Josette says, can I file for my husband? I married him a few months ago and he lives in another country.
Josette, if you're a permanent resident or you're a U.S. citizen, you absolutely can sponsor him.
Shine says, a person put in an I-751 in May of 2016. They did the biometric last May, and then in December, they were asked for additional documents, which were sent off in February of this year. Now we're just waiting for the interview. What's going to happen if you don't have any documents for the last year or up to this date?
Well, you got to prove you're living together, and you're not going to be able to prove it if you have no documents to show you're living together. You have a problem. You should come see me.
Sam just told me I hurt his feelings, and that makes me sad. I'm sorry, Sam.
I'm sorry. And by the way, please, everybody share. We're going to be answering your immigration questions in social media for about another 12 minutes or so. So we're just sitting here answering immigration questions. So please share this with your friends and family. We're doing it through social media. We're not taking calls today, unfortunately, because our phone lines have been eaten by Groundhog Sam. But we are taking social media questions. Please share this with your friends and family. Let them know that we are taking your social media questions. Continue.
King Dane says, how long does an I-45 interview take in New York for a SIJ case?
About 9 or 10 months, the same as anybody else who's filing an adjustment.
Oh, I thought it would be shorter. I thought SIJ was shorter for one reason or another. That's why I'm not the lawyer. We've got a question from Marb White, who says, if the person I intend to marry is living off Social Security and permanent disability checks, is that going to be okay for me?
What do you mean permanent disability checks? He got injured?
I'm assuming, yeah.
Okay, so if he got, yeah, that's perfectly fine if he's sponsoring you, simply because it's not need-based getting disability payments. So it's fine.
We've got another question from Chin, who says, my friend has an appointment with you next week. She's changing lawyers.
Way to go.
Smart friend already. The first lawyer called her today and told her that if she doesn't pay him, he won't release her file. Is it legal to hold someone's file ransom for money? She just found out that her old lawyer, through your show, filed her I-130 incorrectly. What if he does not release her file? What can she do? Can you file the other papers without the file from the old lawyer?
Yeah. First of all, I don't need the file from the old lawyer, so that's not a problem. Number two, this is what the law says in New York, and this is like a New York ethics question more than an immigration question.
Yeah.
You know, what is the ethical duty of an attorney to the client? And this is it. He is entitled to have a lien on the file for any unpaid legal fees. So he has a right to hold on to the file as a retaining lien until you pay for the legal fees that you owe him for the work that he did. Now, he also cannot jeopardize your case. So if by withholding the file it somehow jeopardizes your case, now he's committing some sort of ethical conduct against you, and that would be grounds for a disciplinary complaint.
Wow. Jake said, if someone admits to using an illegal drug even once, could they be made inadmissible?
Yes, and I've seen it. I've seen, especially in Jamaica, I don't know why, this doctor in Jamaica, but I've seen it where the doctor says, have you ever smoked weed before? And someone goes, yeah, about 2 years ago. Okay, well then you're a drug abuser. So what they say is they use your words and say you're abusing drugs. And there is a law that says if you're a drug abuser, you cannot enter the United States of America. So my best advice to everybody is don't smoke weed, ever. Until you're a citizen.
Right.
then it seems to be okay.
I live in a weed legal state, and then smoke all you want.
Right, then smoke all you want. Smoke them if you got them, as they say, right?
Right. I don't know if they were talking about weed, but yeah,
let's smoke them if you got them.
Smoke them if you got them. Lillian wants to know, how can a B1, B2 visa holder acquire a work permit?
You can't as a B1, B2 visa holder. You're here as a visitor. You would have to change your status to a work visa. That would not be a work permit, or adjust your status somehow. And if you can adjust your status, you would get a work permit while you're waiting for your green card.
We've got another question where someone is kind of struggling with what they're seeing online. Aneve says, at this time, I got a message that says, at this time, USCIS cannot provide you with information for your case. Please contact the USCIS Contact Center for additional information. What does that mean?
Means that they can't give you any information online and you should call immigration to see what's up. Basically follow the exact instructions of what they're saying.
That you received.
Or what I would suggest is come see a good lawyer, and I'll tell you why. The telephone number that you're calling is an outside contractor. It's not the immigration service. They're not going to really give you any information. They're going to say, oh, we'll pass it on to the immigration officer with your case and he'll get in touch with you, or she'll get in touch with you, and who knows when that may or may not happen.
Lillian has a follow-up. She says, could a B1, B2 visa be sponsored while he's in the States by a green card holder's parents?
Can a who be sponsored by a what?
So I'm assuming by green card holder parents. So if
as long as you're unmarried, you can absolutely be filed for by a green card holder parent.
While you're here on a B1, B2?
Yes, but you don't overstay. You go home because it's about 7-year wait if you're over 21. So what they're asking probably is, can I stay here during the process? And the answer is no, you can't. Not based on a parent filing for you. Maybe there's some other reason why you can stay, but it's not based on the parent filing for you.
Bahira says, how long does a fiance visa take to process?
It used to take 7 months, but it's probably now under a year, but I would say 10 months.
We've got another question from Jake.
He's already asked a question.
He asked the question about, yeah, exactly.
I see the question right here.
Exactly. You want to read it, Brad? Do you want to?
Yeah.
I can try to answer it.
Yeah. What if you have used an illegal drug before, but the last time you used it was several years ago? Can you still be made inadmissible by admitting historical illegal drug use if you have no criminal record? And the answer is absolutely yes.
Oh man, I was going to answer that because you just answered it.
No,
so
you don't give the legal advice. I'm sorry. You let me do your job, though.
That's Mava Lynn says, if someone's filing for you and they're getting food stamps, could that stop the filing?
Yes, because food stamps is need-based assistance, and the law says if your petitioner is getting need-based assistance, need-based means he or she falls below the poverty level, they can't support themselves, then how in the world can they support you? So yes, that could be a big problem. What?
Groundhog Sam has a question. He says, Brad, what type of visa do I need to travel to Belgium with Belgium Kim?
Okay, animals do not get visas. Okay?
They don't need approval or anything?
No, this is customs. Animals go through customs. All right, so animals is like a product. Now, whether Sam is a real animal or a fake animal, that's to be determined. Either way, it's a customs issue, not an immigration issue.
I think you just broke Sam's little
I'm sorry, little Sammy.
Heart.
Yeah. But animals don't have immigration restrictions. It's a customs thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Wasn't there a whole immigration thing with, maybe it was a customs thing with Johnny Depp's dogs? Like Australia.
That was going to Australia.
Yeah, Australia was going to put them to sleep.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Yeah, that was about a year ago when they went to do some filming because they didn't have customs approval.
Right.
It's like bringing in an iPhone, without permission to a country, or a car. You can't ship a car to Australia unless you get permission from customs.
That makes sense. I think that's all we've got for right this second.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to keep rolling, but that's what we've got right now.
All right. So luckily for us.
Yeah.
All right. I had spoken. This is actually a really good segment, this interview. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't know what's wrong with our phones, but this interview is really good. I am telling you. I will tell you when you can leave. Don't leave on this one. It's really good. All right. I spoke with Pastor Emma Lozano, and she presides over the Lincoln United Methodist Church in Chicago, Illinois, and she's an immigrant activist, and most of her congregation are dealing with immigration issues. She just got back from Tijuana, Mexico, where she assisted people in the migrant caravan, which we're going to learn about in a second, at the U.S.-Mexican border get married. And the reason they were getting married before they crossed into the United States of America to be detained was because if they're married, then the man and the woman and the child would not be separated. Versus versus if they were not married, they would be separated. So this is
wow.
really an interview about people who are so in love with each other that they're risking their lives to get to America and then don't want to be separated, so they get married so they can be together.
Wow.
Let's watch. So you may have heard about a group of about 200 Central American migrants who made a final triumphant walk on Sunday, singing and cheering as they made their way toward an official border crossing to apply for asylum in the United States. The day was supposed to cap a 2,500-mile journey that began more than a month ago on the Mexican border with Guatemala. But once the migrants, many of them women carrying small children in their arms, reached the San Isidro port, the caravan appeared to collide head-on with the Trump administration. Moments before the migrants arrived at the U.S. Customs and Border Protection offices at the border between the United States and Mexico, officials announced that none of the migrants from the caravan would be processed for asylum because the agency was full for the day. They had no more interviews. The afternoon announcement stunned organizers and immigrant rights advocates, especially considering statements earlier this week by the Department of Homeland Security officials that teams of asylum officers were being dispatched to the border quickly to process the migrants for their asylum cases. They know we are coming. The whole world is watching, Arinio Mujica said, an organizer with the transnational group Pueblos Sin Fronteras. They are trying to please Donald Trump instead. The migrants traveled together in a caravan partly for protection, but also partly to make a political statement. The journey from Central America through Mexico to the United States, as everybody knows, is very dangerous. Migrants have reported being robbed, beaten, extorted, sexually assaulted by criminals who prey on them. Most of the migrants are from the Northern Triangle countries of El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. The annual caravan is intended to call attention to the drug cartel and gang violence, the political turmoil, the poverty in Central America, driving men, women, LGBT, and transgender people to take refuge in neighboring countries. This year, about 80% of the migrants traveling the caravan are from Honduras, which has one of the highest murder rates in the world and experienced political turmoil following November's presidential election. Many believe that election was tainted by fraud. Now, Donald Trump considers the caravan an affront to the U.S. immigration laws and a threat to border security, since some of the migrants say they plan to cross the border illegally, while others are applying for asylum. 3 days after Easter, Trump's administration announced the deployment of the National Guard. You may have remembered they sent 25,000 Guard troops down to the border to secure the border from this specific caravan. After Trump ordered the National Guard troops to the southern border, organizers said the caravan would stop after reaching Mexico City. Some groups then splintered off to travel on their own, and others decided to remain in Mexico, where the government, under pressure from the United States, provided transit permits allowing migrants to stay and apply for asylum there. But organizers decided to continue to accompany the caravan to the border, since the majority of those remaining were women and children. From Mexico City, the caravan traveled to the U.S. border on buses and by riding on top of freight trains. The caravan has arrived in Tijuana, a city in Baja California, south of San Diego, California. They are staying in a shelter there. Lawyers are participating in legal consultations with migrants who plan to seek asylum and will tell them what to expect during credible fear interviews with the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service officers. Those interviews will determine whether the migrants' claims that they will face persecution or torture if they would return to their home country meet the minimum standards to pursue an asylum claim. As of today, the caravan that made it to Tijuana has not been allowed into the United States. They've been turned away because immigration says the facility is still full. There are protesters on both sides. And with us today, we have Pastor Emma Lozano. Now, Emma Lozano presides over the Lincoln United Methodist Church in Chicago, Illinois, where most of her congregation are dealing with some sort of immigration issues. Pastor Lozano just got back from Tijuana, Mexico. There she is. She went to visit Miguel Perez, a recently deported United States veteran, and while she was there, Pastor Lozano performed the wedding ceremony at the Tijuana border for 4 couples from the caravan, all refugees who recently arrived from Central America and presumably have or will be shortly applying for asylum. So with us today, let me welcome Pastor Emma Lozano.
Thank you for having me on your show, Brett.
Tell us a little more background about this caravan, because that's all we hear from Donald Trump for the last few weeks is the caravan is coming. And the way he makes it out, it sounds like the entire countries of Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala are pouring out at the millions and overriding the U.S. border, and that obviously is not the case.
That is not the case. And these people, especially from the report you just gave, 80% come from the country of Honduras. And they are fleeing right now violence. After the recently had election in November, it got worse. And we're having reports from human rights advocates that are there and observing that many of the people are living in chaos. There's violence every day. People are being killed in the streets. There's protests all the time. So we're looking at families that are leaving their country of origin, not because they want to, it's forced migration, situations of violence where their children and they have no other alternative. Then they get on top of trains that are very, very dangerous in order to make their journey towards a country where they can apply for asylum. And that's what's happening. And I've seen them. These are families that are leaving and they're coming together. And we should, as international law, open our borders for those that are fleeing violence to give them that asylum that they so much need at this time.
So now, this is obviously organized. It's not like all of a sudden everybody decided on April 1st to get in buses and cars and start driving north. Who organized this entire caravan of cars, and how did they pick who's coming, and was everybody welcome to come?
Well, first and foremost, the caravan is for protection. It's very difficult to make that particular journey, and you have safety in numbers. And there are activists and human rights defenders that are there to walk with them throughout their journey, coming across the borders, looking for refuge in other countries. And so because of those numbers, they pick a date where those that are fleeing violence and that can unite with others and feel that safety in their numbers and come across. So who is organizing that are human rights advocates, defenders, Pueblos Sin Fronteras, and other human rights organizations, churches, pastors, those that are willing to walk along with the people and try to keep them safe as they make their journey.
Now, this is the most, I guess, well-publicized caravan? Are there multiple caravans coming, or is this basically it?
People leave their country at all different times depending on their particular circumstance. But this is a caravan that comes out yearly, and they're organized, like I said, by the human rights defenders, helping and assisting people leave poverty or violence. And in this case, Honduras is experiencing extreme violence, many deaths since the last election in November that many are accusing of being fraudulent. And a lot of money is coming from the U.S. to support that military. And we're asking people to join in and make sure that our tax dollars are not used to hurt and cause chaos and assassinate people that are not in favor of the current administration there in Honduras, because our information is that they're the ones that have caused the different assassinations that have taken place of journalists, of environmentalists, of those that are there that have been trying to bring Honduras to a better place for the people who live there.
Now, thinking and listening to you, how ironic that is that you have the Trump administration funneling money to Honduras to basically, what you're saying is basically rig a fraudulent election in favor of the military there. The military is abusing people's rights. They're leaving as a result of the chaos and the danger and the death surrounding them. And then it's being caused by money from U.S. tax dollars going to Honduras. People are fleeing north to avoid this entire chaos and what many consider a war going on down there, only to be stopped, be robbed, or sexually assaulted on their way north, and then to be stopped at the border and say you're not welcome in the United States.
And the way you explained it is perfectly what we see is happening in Honduras, and we're asking people to start to write to their congressmen. We understand that there's a bill in Congress right now saying stop aid to Honduras, because they're actually aiding what is going on in Honduras that's causing the forced migration from that particular country. And then when they come here, they're told that they are not welcome, that they are going to be a charge on our country, but it's being created by this country to begin with. So we're asking all of that to be reviewed, and so that people don't have to leave their particular countries, that they can live there. And but now that they're there, I saw women, babies, families that were made the whole journey up until the border, and then they were forced to wait. The babies were sick already. You could see how it was cold that night, and in Tijuana, which is a border with San Diego, there was a whole march of supporters that came from California to support them because they're understanding what's going on. And we should not be the ones that are saying, closing the door to them when our tax dollars are supporting what forced them to leave their country in the first place.
So I agree with you 100%, and I wish that that news, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, if they actually had cameras and interviewed some of the people who were there and saw some sick babies, what a humanitarian crisis we have at the border. And I think that the American public would be a little less callous if they actually saw what was going on. It's much easier to be callous when you don't see pictures and you don't see video.
And I think we need to understand that right now the whole immigration issue needs to be re-examined, because right now we have about 58,000 Hondureños that are living in this country since Hurricane Mitch in 1998. And since then they have been paying taxes, living here legally, and now they're being told your time is up and they're going to have to leave the country, while the U.S. is sending millions of dollars to support a military coup in Honduras that is forcing migration north to this part of the country. I think this all has to be reviewed, because the people that are already here legally, that have roots in this country, have contributions, own property, there's no reason right now to have them deported.
To go back to a military zone. I agree with you, because all you're doing is forcing them to get back in a caravan and come to the border.
Yeah, that is sending them to poverty and maybe even death.
Correct.
So why would we do that when they are already rooted in the United States of America, contributing to the economy? So we have to understand what is in the minds of the Trump and Trump supporters. Why would they force these people out when they've already made roots and contributing to this economy?
Well, the Trump administration says it's perfectly safe to go back to Honduras. That's the whole idea behind temporary protected status. When the temporary protected status is up, it's because the president says it's perfectly safe to go back and live in Honduras. And what you're saying is it is probably more unsafe now than at any time in the last 20 years to actually go back to Honduras.
This would be the worst time to return to Honduras, because you would be taking your family. Now these people have U.S. citizen children and maybe even grandchildren. And to leave this country to go into a war zone, a civil war out there, would be a disaster, and these families would be ruined. And I understand that there's extreme stress that's going on with these families right now, but we need to look over all of the immigration issues in this country, because we're even deporting U.S. veterans
that is true,
that have served in our country's wars.
Honorably served.
Honorably served. And when they return with the PTSD and they have issues, and they've not been given the citizenship that they fought for, this Constitution and this flag, and then are deported, is an embarrassment.
It's a disgrace. More than an embarrassment, it's an absolute disgrace. We've had some of those deported veterans on. I know you know some of them. One of them actually returned as a U.S. citizen, but it took over a decade. But yes, it is absolutely, absolutely a disgrace. But let's talk about, we know how bad it is in Honduras now, and the caravan is coming. And it started with 1,600 people, this particular caravan that Trump was tweeting about, that he sent the 25,000 National Guard to the border to protect the border from these 1,600 people coming in the caravan.
From my understanding, about 200 reached the border. And from those, I think 180 are in detention or being already serviced at the border. And decisions being made whether or not they're going to be allowed to enter.
Do you know the exact reasons or general reasons why some of the people dropped off?
Well, some of the reasons were because they are staying in sanctuary places in Mexico that have been provided for them, and they are looking for a way to live and raise their families there in Mexico. Coming to a hostile country with an administration led by someone named Donald Trump is probably not the most appealing place to come. So I think that they're looking elsewhere for refuge, and if they can find it there and find jobs, they're probably not going to move towards here. Those that do have family already here that have been here since Hurricane Mitch, since the late 90s, they may continue to make their way here. Those that made it all the way to the border and have crossed, I know the couples that I married are already in California, and I'm happy for them, and I hope that they make a life there and that there are churches and people that can afford them sanctuary while they're here. But that is the nature of the caravan. These people are looking for a place to live. It doesn't have to be the United States, but if they have family here, that's what family reunification is. For Melania Trump, they don't call it chain migration, they call it family reunification. But when you talk about Latino families or African families or Haitian families, now you're talking about chain migration, and we don't want these people here.
You're 100%, because they use those words to disguise the real reasons behind why they're doing what they're doing.
Absolutely.
I would suspect that if it was a caravan of Norwegians at the border, as Donald Trump said, he likes Norwegians, they would be much more welcoming than what they're doing with the Hondurans and the El Salvadorans. I had read recently that Attorney Jeff Sessions said that people who come to the border, they'll no longer, you said 180 of them are right now in detention applying for asylum, that they're no longer going to have family jails, that they may even separate children from their mothers. Have you seen any of this?
I've seen that in the past, and with Jeff Sessions saying this, it took us a long, long time for us to fight for the families to be able to stay together, especially the infant children and their mothers. But I've seen in the past that they were separated, and they would keep like infant children if the mother is breastfeeding and things like that. But we fought and we raised this issue because it's inhuman, and it's against any basic human rights to separate a mother from her child, or even an adult child or an adolescent child from their parents. And we fought for these things, and what they're trying to do is use this as a way to for people not to want to come to the border for fear that they would be separated from their children. They've already made the journey this far, and we're telling them that we'll fight for them and we'll try to make sure that that doesn't happen. But I've even talked to Border Patrol people, the authorities there. They don't agree with Jeff Sessions on this. They've seen how children suffer, and they've seen the crying children when they're taken from their mother's arms, and they don't want to do this. And this is inhuman, and even if that's your job, it is really something that no one really wants to do.
And not only does no one want to do, I would hope that at some point the Border Patrol would say, you know, even though this is my job, this is so inhuman, it is such a disgusting thing that they're doing, I won't do it. You know, at some point I hope somebody speaks up about it.
I hope that will happen, and I hope we get reports about it.
To endure what these people have endured, how bad it is in Honduras to actually want to leave and endure what you went through, risk your life, risk your health, risk the life and health of your family, may not even survive, may be raped, killed, disease, tortured, to say I'd rather have that than live where I am. That says a lot about how bad it is in Honduras. Would you agree with that?
I am totally in agreement with that, Brad, and that is exactly what they do. Who wants to cross a desert with gallons of water? That's why the caravan exists, so that people can find safety in numbers. But many of them have braved that because they can't wait for a caravan to be organized, or for organizers of human rights to help them across. And they do it on their own, and thousands of them are left in the deserts to die of the heat. And this last year, there was like a cold climate, and some of them died from hypothermia. I am also part of an organization of activists that work to try to find those that are lost in the desert or in the mountains, and try to get people to go and either look for the bodies or to rescue them. but they leave their countries not because they want to come all the way to Charleston, South Carolina, because they like the climate there. They come there because they have to come. They come there because there's really no alternative for them. They come there because they want to live somewhere where it's safe.
It's
So they
survival.
brave and they risk their lives to get there, but it's still risking is better than where they are right now. Some of them send their children alone. They rather their child have a chance than living there and die in the countries that they're in right now.
Now, what do you say to Donald Trump and the Sean Hannitys of this world and the Stephen Millers, who's Trump's immigration advisor, who say, well, yeah, it's maybe sad, but, as a sovereign country, we have a right to secure our borders, and this is an all-out assault on our border, and if we allow everybody in, they'll overtake our country.
Their motivations are not genuine, and they don't help our country. Every year we need workers. Every year there needs people in the fields. They need jobs that U.S. citizens don't want to take, and et cetera. And we need to understand that every day we need a migration to come to this country in order for our economy to be strong and our country to be strong. And we're a country of immigrants, and through our diversity is what makes us strong. And I say to them that maybe they're more motivated by racism than anything else. And I think that that's evil and that's wrong and it's unchristian. But I also think that they are trying to raise this kind of hatred towards people that are unlike themselves, because we had heard already how why don't we get people from Norway to come to this country? Why don't we have people from other European countries to come here?
And I would say the reason why people from Norway don't want to come here, it's because the exact reason why people from Honduras do want to come here. People in Norway are not living in a civil war. Their life is not in danger. They're living in peace. There would be no reason for them to pick up and leave, unlike what you have just described with Honduras. Now, you have 180 of them right now are in detention. They would rather sit in jail at the border on the Mexican side while their asylum claim is pending versus go back to Honduras. I haven't seen any of these asylum applications. I'm not exactly sure what is being said and stated in these applications. Have you seen any of them? And what have you heard from the lawyers on the ground there, what they think the likelihood of success is?
I have to believe that the success rate is going to be unanimous. I have to believe that as a pastor. As the attorneys look at these interviews, as a family or a person comes through asking for asylum, they have to pass what is called an interview for credible fear. Coming from Honduras, if they're coming from El Salvador, if they're coming from even parts of Mexico that I know that the violence is, like very, very high, they're going to pass that credible fear. And they're going to be able to come into the country, and then we're going to be able to find them attorneys, because within the first year that they're here, they need to have an attorney. None of this is cheap. All of this is going to cost them. It's already cost them the risk to come to this country. And they're willing to work, and they're willing to be a part of this country. And some of them will be entrepreneurs. Some of them, their children will grow up to be maybe the next congressman of this country. But we have to give them that opportunity. And I hope that they all make it across, and this country needs them as much as we need to open our borders to allow people who are in danger to come in.
Or their grandchildren may become the vice president of the United States, because I just read an article that Mike Pence's grandparents immigrated from Europe through what he would call chain migration, where one brother came and then got the rest of the brothers and sisters in, and now Mike Pence, 2 generations later, is now the vice president of the United States.
I hope he hears this, because that's great information to give out to the rest of the public, and I'll use that. Thank you so much for that.
So now you went down to the border, and you are a pastor, and you performed 4 marriage ceremonies between people in the caravan. Can you tell me how that happened?
Well, first and foremost, some of the couples that were getting married have already been couples. They had children already in their country of origin. And when they were facing to come into asking for asylum, they wanted to do it as a family. So I was there performing weddings for couples that were carrying their infant children and holding their hands of their children, and making that commitment to each other to fight to stay together as they crossed the border. They didn't want to get separated without having said those vows to each other that they would be together forever. They made the hard journey, and they wanted to make sure that in the name of God and the Jesus Christ, that they were committed to each other and that they would fight to stay together as a family. And I was so privileged and honored to have done that wedding. I cried at the wedding. It was very moving and emotional for me to see the babies sniffling because they had been out all night. Felt cold myself, and I was saying, they're out and they won't let them even in, and they're sick, you know, and they did this because they love each other and they want to stay together as a family.
You know, I would say when I first heard about this story and that you married people at the border, at my first blush was, I said to myself, boy, that's not very romantic to get married at the border. But as you just described it, I can't think of anything more romantic than traveling with the man and woman you love, with a child together, enduring what they endured, and said, we're going to go through this together. We're not leaving each other.
It was one of the most beautiful wedding ceremonies that I've ever performed, and most moving. And the vows that they gave to each other were so truthful and honest and loving that I would do it again if I was asked. I would travel and pay all my expenses just to marry somebody who was that committed to each other. The children that were there were the witnesses of the love of their parents and how they were dedicated. They made this journey to keep their families together. That's what America's all about. People that make a journey, that are committed, that want to keep strong families here. And this is what we should be opening our borders for. These families, they're going to stay together. And I helped them do that by forming the wedding in the name of Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Amen.
You know what? I'm getting emotional listening to you, and I usually don't get emotional on this show, and you're making me very emotional. You have your own family's immigration story. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Of course. You know, my church where I am the pastor of, we have at least, I would say, 40 members of our church, 40 families that are right now in immigration hearings or cases where they're being threatened by deportation. One of the members of our church, Cecilia Garcia, she's a U.S. citizen born in Chicago. Her husband was stopped at a traffic stop, and he ended up being deported. Now she's raising 5 children who are all born in Chicago, and her husband in Tijuana. And we have more and more stories of this all the time, where the broken immigration system is dividing our families. We should be able to marry whomever we please. We're U.S. citizens. And because of the broken immigration laws, we're not able to do that, and we're separating families that love each other. And in this case, Hugo was an amazing mechanic that we all went to for our cars. They own their own homes, and now that he was deported, now she is holding 2 and 3 jobs just in order to support the family. And Hugo's in poverty in Tijuana trying to make ends meet, and Cecilia's having to support him. Why? He's not a criminal.
Right.
This is because broken immigration laws that we need to get fixed.
It's not only the broken immigration laws, it's the absolute hypocrisy of our politicians, especially on the right, where you see people where they say we're about God and family, except only God and family about people born in America. If it's a family about somebody born in another country, we're not into that. They're very hypocritical. I don't know any other way to say it, to say that God and family are the 2 most important pillars in their life. But when you're talking about separating families and hearing these stories, it's obviously not important to them when it's somebody else's family.
We're talking about mixed status families. We're talking about U.S. citizens that have married someone from a different country and have had children with them, U.S. citizen children. We're talking about mixed status families, which is supposed to be possible and for us to marry and then become citizens in this country. It's not all that easy, and some people don't understand that. People get confused thinking that people are trying to come into our country. No, these are married couples that have U.S. citizen children, and now they're being criminalized and they're being deported. So we're trying to fight against misinformation. But I want to remind all the right wing, especially the Christians, because Jesus Christ was a migrant and he was a refugee. And you can't go to Easter Sunday and say, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, but then the next day say, we want to build a wall, we want to deport them all, and not taking into consideration their situation, I ask them to please examine their Bible.
That is very, very true. Were you given any idea when they would be getting their credible fear interviews? I believe also that if they follow a law there at the border, at the bare minimum, they should all pass their credible fear interviews, be allowed into America, and then figure out their asylum claims from there. Do you have any idea when those decisions are going to come down and when those interviews are going to happen?
Well, I understand that they have to take in, or they're prepared, or the capacity is about 350 immigrants a day, and then it takes time to situate them, and then they have to schedule for the interviews. And it could take several weeks or even months. It really depends. I've seen situations where people have been given their credible fear interviews, and then they're crossed over the same day. I have people in my church like that, but I have another situation where it was a Guatemalan boy who was kidnapped in Guatemala. We got him to come to the border, and then it took him like 3 months. But I think it shouldn't take more than about 3 weeks.
If they were lucky enough to get a visa or get on a plane and come in through an airport, I know from my practice of law that the credible fear would happen in a 24-hour period, and they would most likely be allowed it.
The couples I married are now in California.
Oh, congratulations. That's wonderful. You know, you're helping so many people. You're doing such wonderful work. You're such a good spokeswoman. Tell me what your dreams are, your American dreams for not only yourself, but for what's going on at the border.
I would hope that there would be immigration law that would allow for those that have family members that were deported, that they would be able to return to this country and be reunified. I dream that we would allow people to come in to work. And I would hope that we would be loving enough to be able to, especially those that are in danger and fleeing violence, that we would be here to say, come to our country. That's what the Statue of Liberty says. I wish that we would abide by what it says. I wish that we could change the heart of Donald Trump and all of those people that are thinking that these people are evil. They have something to offer, and you have something to offer to them. And if we look at each other, we're not that much different.
I couldn't have said it any better. Pastor Emma Lozano, thank you very much. If anybody wants to be able to reach out to you or visit you in your church, how could they reach out to you?
They can call our church at 773-847-7282, or they could get on our website, www.familialatinaunida.com.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for your real beautiful insight of what's going on there. And I hope it works out not only for them, but for the future generations as well that come in.
It was a pleasure talking to you, Brother Brad. I hope I can talk to you in person one day.
I hope so, too.
God bless you.
Thank you. All right.
Wow.
Wow.
Whew.
I choked. I don't know if I was crying. You know, Lisa Bligg-Rose is like, Brad's crying. I don't know if I was crying.
Are you defending your manliness right
No,
now?
I mean, maybe I was a little choked up, you know. It's sad, but I wasn't like, you know, in outright.
I welled up.
Yeah, maybe welling.
Right, like they were on my eyeballs, but they never.
Maybe a little welling.
Yeah, it's a good. Does welling ever turn into sobbing? It's either
No,
I ever go
no.
I stop it, or it's pure sobbing.
Yeah, it's. I think your welling turning into sobbing is like your giggle turning into a hearty laugh.
Yeah,
exactly. Right there. Exactly right there. Yeah. All right, everybody, we're gonna get into another round of social media. We have problems with our telephone lines. I got Groundhog Sam working on it right now. He's climbing up a pole as we speak with his little furry tail. Mm-hmm. I was looking out. He was on the telephone pole.
Hanging out there.
He was going, what do I do now? I don't know, Sam.
Is it the red wire or the blue one?
I don't know. All right, so we don't have telephone lines, but we do have social media questions. It keeps pouring in. Let's go to social media check-in.
And our very first question on this round is from Fidelis. And Fidelis says, hey, Brad, I've got a friend of mine who his adoption was approved right when he turned 18. He was abused in Charlotte, North Carolina, when he first got into the country. Someone who was made to take care of him left him on the street for more than 3 weeks. Unfortunately, someone saw him and decided to help him by calling a family he knew would have him adopted, but the adoption was approved. They applied for a green card for him and it was accepted. So right now he's worried because the immigration haven't gotten back to him in 2 months since the case was first accepted. Whew.
It's a loaded question, and I'll tell you why. Because if you do an adoption after the age of 16, you're not entitled to a green card, even if it's abuse. If you get a legal guardianship, which is part of the adoption process, so most states you have to go through the legal guardianship as part of the adoption process. You also have to get the judge, and we may have to go and revisit and see what the orders of the judge are, make a special ruling that not only is this child, this 18-year-old child, eligible for adoption, they haven't become an adult yet, but that it's not in this child's best interest to be reunited with one or both parents because of abandonment or abuse. So we have to look into what happened actually in the court to make sure that they would be eligible. Hopefully that child's applying for a special juvenile immigrant, but it can't apply for a green card through an adoption because the adoption had to happen before 16.
Tough answer to a tough question.
Yes.
Inez said, if you get deported and you go back and attempt to apply for re-entry if you get married, could you go back?
What were you deported for? If it was for drugs, no. If it was for something else, you're not applying for re-entry. You're applying for a new green card and waivers.
I think Marb already asked this, but she's asking it in a different way. She said, I've got a friend who's involved with someone who is receiving Social Security, who's living off of exclusively Social Security payments every month and a disability check every month.
Yeah, we already asked that question, and the answer is it's perfectly fine because neither Social Security or disability are need-based. It's based on the fact that you're disabled. You could be a millionaire and be disabled and still get Social Security disability. So by all means, the spouse can file. Now, if the disability payments are their only source of income and that payment per month is not 125% above the poverty level, you may need a second affidavit of support. But having the Social Security disability payment is not in of itself a reason to deny.
Kimmy Kim said, a friend of mine would like to come visit, just on a visitor's visa, but she'd also like to get a work permit while she's here. Is there anything that you could do to help, Brad?
Yeah, no, that doesn't exist. I'm sorry. You can't be a bear and a dog at the same time. You're either a bear or you're a dog, but not both. So you can't come on a visitor's visa and then say, I want to work on my visitor's visa. It doesn't exist. Right? You can't be a bear and a dog.
That is what one would think.
You would think.
That you could not be.
But apparently there's a couple in China who says a bear is a dog.
Who struggled
with that issue, but we'll talk about that tomorrow.
There's a reason to tune in, family.
Yeah, tune in tomorrow about the bear and the dog. Oh, you'll be shocked on that one.
Amoyan would like to know, I'm in the States 2 years now. I've been married to an American citizen. About 4 months into our marriage, he abandoned me. I'm now here, still married, and have no documents. Is there anything that you guys can do for me?
Yes, you should get divorced and get married to somebody who won't abandon you, and hopefully that's in a bona fide loving marriage.
Corrine says, good evening. I want to know how to process for a work permit. I've never traveled to the U.S. before, and I have a non-immigrant visa.
You can't process for a work permit. The non-immigrant visa is the visitor's visa. Again, you can't be a bear and a dog. You can't be here visiting and working at the same time. It's one or the other.
Lean said, good evening. Can filing for food stamps prevent you in any way from becoming a citizen?
No. Unless there was fraud in the application of the food stamps, but no. Getting a green card, yes. Citizen, no.
Herrero says, I have 2 children in California. They were adopted by my youngest brother, and they're now American citizens. Could they petition for me as their biological parent? I'm 76 years old. I have already multiple visas and have visited them twice. I don't have any children. I am alone in the Philippines.
Unfortunately, once an adoption happens, you are no longer considered the legal parent of these children, and therefore that breaks the the bond of them applying for you. You would have to figure out another way. By all means, let's have a consultation and figure out another way, but it's not going to be through your children because they're no longer legally your children.
God Mercy Kept Trocon.
Yes.
Said, if someone traveled for more than a year because they were sick under a green card and then later they got denied while they were coming back, what can they do?
What do you mean they got denied? How long were they out of the country?
A year.
And they got turned around?
Yeah, because they were sick. So I'm assuming they traveled somewhere. It seems
Okay,
they got sick.
They should have, at the airport, requested to see a judge. That's what should have happened. Now, if they didn't and they just got turned around and got deported at the airport, we got to see what happened, what they said. The reality is you got to apply for something called an SB1 visa, which is a visa to return to the United States after abandoning your permanent residence and show you have enough ties that it was beyond your control because of the reason for the abandonment. So we got to take a look at what happened at the airport. We got to see what ties you have to America for the SB1 visa. Hopefully you didn't get deported, because if you got deported, then that's a whole other situation.
We've got a question from Adelia who says, good morning. I'm a government employee and I'm 55 years old. I was petitioned for by my husband in 2001, but was denied due to the status of my husband. He was single /
Wait. I'm a government employee, and I got sponsored by my husband, but was denied because of the status of my husband?
Yeah, I think his marital status, it was like...
He was a bigamist?
Single / married when he went to the U.S. in 1986.
He wasn't single / married. He was either single or married.
Or married.
You're not single / married. Is that such a thing?
And
although I have considered myself single / married for a little bit, but no, there's no legal definition of that.
Oh, is that so? Would that be what you would consider yourself now, single / married?
No, I am now divorced.
Okay. Happily so, it sounds
I guess
like.
So, yeah. Because I was single / married when I was separated. I'm not saying that I was married, living with my wife, and walking around saying I'm single.
Living a single life.
Yeah,
right.
Let's make it clear. I was separated for 5 years. I was basically single, but legally married.
Oh, so maybe.
So I was single / married, but legally married, but I considered myself single.
So maybe
You
that was
understand?
Adelia's husband's problem.
Now, just for transparency purposes, I'm divorced.
Okay.
All right, just making it very clear.
There's a timeline of Brad Bernstein for you. You are welcome, ladies.
Thank you. But I don't know what she means by single / divorced.
Yeah, Dion
single / married.
Single / married.
Single / married. Can we get a ruling on single / married?
I feel like it should be a Facebook.
You know what we need? We need like a referee here. You know, like they have a referee, you know, in like sporting events, and they announce, we are giving a 15-yard penalty for, we need like the referee to say, okay, I am now giving you the ruling on what singles, or maybe I'm the referee.
I was
going to
say, it's called Brad Show Live. I feel like you're pretty solid.
I guess I'm pretty solid on who the referee is. I'm the referee of my own show.
Your name's on the door, your name's on the
on the show. And it's right there in the corner.
It's right there behind you.
Right, with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in my head.
Right? Mm-hmm. There is, I'd say you're the ref.
I would say I am the referee.
You're the ref, you're the team owner.
I am the team owner.
You are 98% of the team, I would say.
I am not 98%. There's a big team here.
There is a big team.
If you watch the credits at the end, it's a huge team. You think it's easy to do this? You think I do this all by myself? I can't do this all by myself.
Surely not.
No. Okay, so let's get back to what does single / married mean?
Single / married mean.
We don't know.
Well, and I got another layer of this for you.
All right, Dion Watson says, Kim, read my comments.
I see it, Dion. You're next. I swear, baby. I swear.
Yes.
But we're going to finish asking Adelia's question. So single / married, but we've got one extra layer. He went back to the Philippines before the deportation proceedings started. So he came home. Is there any chance for me to get a U.S. visa just to visit the U.S.?
Wait a second. Who went home? The single / married person?
I believe it may have been.
All right. So I would say they're married.
Yeah.
Because there is no divorce in the Philippines.
Okay.
So unless they made it to another country and got divorced somewhere else, or the spouse, so they're married.
They're married.
And separated, basically. They were Brad for the last 5 years.
Right.
Basically, Brad, I was you for the last 5 years until your divorce came through.
Right.
Except in the Philippines, there is no divorce.
Oh. So maybe that was why, like, they couldn't be divorced?
I don't know. We got to get, he's got to have a consultation.
Cordella
I don't know
has no
what
idea.
he means.
Never
What
heard
does
that
Cordella
one.
says?
She said never hear that one, single/married.
I never did either.
Yeah, Javel said single/married. It's 50% single, 50% married at times. And I was like, I don't think that's how relationships work, Javel.
No. I'm married on the weekends, and during the
Right.
week, I am single.
I would do the opposite. If you had to pick one, I'd rather be married.
It's like
over
in
the
that
week.
Seinfeld when George put on the wedding bands.
Yeah, to try and get
women, and then they started liking it. And you're like, no, I'm really single. And you're like, no, I'm sorry, I don't go out with married men, but you're a great guy.
That's like the one episode of
Yeah,
Seinfeld I
great.
have seen. Dion's question is, I got my 2-year conditional green card. I'm supposed to put in for the 10-year next March. The problem is my husband owes child support, so we opened an account together. They froze the account and took all the money. I'm scared to open another account. Is it going to be a problem if we can't show an account together? And I'm not asking for no friend. Thank you, Dion.
Dion, I would be scared to open an account too because they're going to keep taking your money. And they're going to be taking your money on your tax refunds and everything else. What your husband needs to do is get a good lawyer to deal with that family court situation. Get on a payment plan so they don't start clawing everywhere left, right, and center. Because you're married, and now remember what the definition of a marriage is for immigration, is that you have an economic relationship and you live together. That's how they determine whether it's a real marriage. So the fact that you live together and don't have an economic relationship could be problematic. So what is an economic relationship is you share in the proceeds of the marriage, meaning you put your money together, which is why you have a joint bank account, and you share in the debts of the marriage, and the debts could be your husband's child support payments that he didn't pay. So what you need to do is not have separate accounts and say, well, I'm not responsible for it, because that could be a problem. Could be a problem on your immigration case. Your husband has to be proactive and deal with this child support issue. If it's in New York or Connecticut, come see us.
Tamika said, I went on a work program with an HB2 visa. I left the job because it wasn't working out, but I came back to Jamaica before my time expired. That was from 2009. Now I went to the embassy about 3 to 4 times since, and I keep getting turned down. What do you think's causing it?
They don't believe on this particular occasion that you're going to return home. We got to prove more ties back to your home country.
Oh, so God Mercy Kept Trocon gave us a follow-up. They were talking about the person who had been out sick for more than a year, and then when they came back, they got turned around. So it was the embassy who told them that their green card could not allow them because the person had spent a year outside of the U.S.
But the embassy should have also told you can apply for an SB1 visa, show your ties to the United States of America, and show it's beyond your control while you were out for more than 6 months, and they should have allowed you to return on an SB1 visa. They should call me and let's see if we can figure it out for them.
Dion also has a follow-up. Even though they don't have an account together, they did file their tax returns together, and they have submitted all of those. Do you think that's going to be enough?
It's a totality of circumstances, a totality of all the evidence. I can't tell you, but I would suggest that your husband deal with his child support issues. You know, you're asking me to make what
do you think the judge would say?
I don't know, because I don't know everything that was submitted. I can't tell you.
We've got a question from Feli, who says, my U.S. brother is citizen, filed his petition for me under the F4 category with a priority date of September 6th, 1996. Can I possibly ask a favor to please help me and tell me how long I'll still be waiting?
What country are they from? Is this the Philippines? 1996, I would assume.
I would assume because
does this person have a Filipino sounding name?
You tell me. It's a Feli Ridaus Ancheta. So maybe.
It could be.
It could be.
It could be. I don't know. Let's see what the Philippines are. Let's see. June 2018, upcoming visa bulletin. In the Philippines, they're up to February 22nd, 1995.
Ooh, so we're getting close.
And she is what?
He was February 1996. September 6th, 1996.
All right, so he's approximately 1.5 to 2 years away. Cool. Now he has waited ultimately about 20. He will have waited 25 years to get his green card. Donald Trump's chain migration
right.
tweets really. I think he should tweet to this guy.
Right.
You know, you goddamn chain migration. You say, listen, I'm waiting 25 years for my green card. I don't think it's.
Bring on the chain,
man.
Yeah,
we're on the chain, right? We're in that. We're in Brad's tunnel where there seems to be no internet connection. That's where they've been for the last 25 years.
Right.
As Jeff likes to say, Brad's tunnel.
Brad's tunnel. It is your tunnel. That ginormous
tunnel.
You had a tunnel dug all the way from California.
And I want you to know, all of our issues have nothing to do with the tunnel, because after the last show with the crickling,
right.
I had our tunnel checked. I swear to God. And they said, this tunnel is so wide we can drive a truck through it. It's not the tunnel. It's something else.
Poor engineers crawling through that tunnel.
They're like, we can put a truck through this tunnel. All right, what else?
Tara says, if someone in a bona fide marriage, if someone is in a bona fide marriage and her spouse hits her, does she have to have a police report to qualify under the abuse of the spouse? So to qualify for VAWA?
No, because that's abuse. Your husband hitting you. Take a picture. I mean, there's lots of ways to prove it. Your own testimony. Go to a doctor.
Rexy says, in 2010, my sister was terminally ill. She wanted me to see her with her hospital certificate. I applied for a visa to the U.S., and I also have with me an affidavit of support from my daughter, but I was denied. Do you have any idea why?
To say you're always denied for the same reason. You have not shown enough proof that you're going to return back to your home country. That is the number one reason why you are denied. Also, maybe you have a criminal record or you lied to the government. Those are also reasons to be denied. But when you get denied for a visitor's visa, the number one overriding reason, probably 9 out of 10 times, is you haven't shown you're going to return after your trip to the United States. And you're going to say, well, they have no proof that I'm not going to return. It's not for them to have proof that you plan on coming to America to live. The burden is on you to prove you're going back home.
Velma Gale says, I'm married but filed taxes as single because I only have an I-10 number and my husband owes an incredible amount of taxes, lots of taxes, but is on a payment plan. Is that going to be an immigration problem even though he is on that payment plan?
As long as he's on a payment plan, it's not a problem. Now, if he owes an incredible amount of taxes, there's an absolute free consultation to meet with Carmela. I mean, we just had her on yesterday where she just saved somebody. Was yesterday's episode where she talked about she saved like $97,000 for the person in taxes?
And there was another one I remember. It was like $195,000.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on a payment plan, I mean, you got to have literally cottage cheese between your two ears not to call Carmela. It's free consultation just to see if she can help you basically knock off all the taxes for like peanuts. Literally peanuts. All right, you pay a peanut and you get like $90,000.
Just one peanut?
One peanut.
My God, that's a bargain, y'all. What are you waiting on? Violetta says, I have a granddaughter who's 9 years old and was abandoned by her dad, and her mom has a different family now. Currently, she's in my sister's care, but I'm financially supporting her. I'd like to adopt her. What should I do?
Where is this child?
I'm a U.S. citizen.
Where's the child?
We don't know where the child is.
And this child's 9?
9.
If the child is here, just take the child and get legal guardianship of the child and do a special juvenile immigrant if they're here in the United States. If they're in another country, you got to have that country's child adoption board, whatever country you're in, strip the parents of their parental rights because they've abandoned that child. And then at the same time, do what's called the pre-adoption here in the United States. Show the immigration service that when you file for this child to come up to the United States, there's a judge here in America who will do an adoption. If you go to your home country or wherever this child's country is, if they're living outside the United States to do the adoption, it's highly unlikely they'll come because you're never going to strip the parents of their parental rights as part of that adoption. So come see me first. If they're here, you do a SIJ. If you're home, you strip the parents of their parental rights, you do a pre-adoption here, then you file for them to do the adoption here in America.
Velma Gale says, I'm married, but I'm so sorry. Nope. Jackie Everblessed Harmer, because we already asked Velma's question, said, how long can they give you an extension stamp in your passport for?
An extension of what?
An
extension of
visa.
I don't know what she's talking about. What extension? Are you talking about your I-551? It's usually a year for your green card. Extension for a tourist visa, it's 6 months. Not sure what they're saying.
Velma needs more advice, Brad.
Correct.
Velma said, my husband is too stubborn to do anything about his debt. I'm the one who had to call the IRS and hand him the phone just to get started on the payment plan.
Velma,
How do
then you have to be the one to call Spar and Bernstein and hand him the phone to eliminate his tax debt. Yeah, I didn't marry the guy, you did.
You know how to talk to your man.
Yeah.
Alonzo said, good day, my daughter is an all-around beautician. She's a specialist nail technician, and she is also incredibly computer literate. She's now working in Dubai and is coming back this month of May. Is there any way that she could be sponsored by a job in the United States?
Because she's a hairdressing computer whiz?
Because she is a hairdressing, nail-doing computer whiz.
I don't know. I would need to speak to her, actually. It's possible. Maybe there's a job sponsorship in her future. We would have to speak to her.
We've got a question from Elgin that says, can I get sponsored in the U.S. as a housekeeper? Someone is willing to sponsor me as their housekeeper, but I'm not sure where to start.
1-800-529-5465. That's where you start, and we'll see if you qualify and whether you can get a green card at the end. By the way, Velma Gale, maybe I came down a little too hard on Velma Gale.
Well, listen.
Velma Gale says, I will call you after I put the whole armor of God on. Wow. Velma, maybe in hindsight, Velma, I owe you an apology. Okay, I'm bad enough. Maybe I came down a little too hard on her. All right, so I'm sorry. She didn't deserve that.
You're right. She didn't.
No. I was actually trying to make a joke more than anything. And maybe it came out a little too rough.
I don't feel like it's rough because she answered with funny. I will put my armor of God on.
Yes.
Like she knows.
She knows, like, right? I don't know if she needs the armor from her husband or from me, though.
Well, listen. Throw the armor on. Give us a call. You know, some battles are worth fighting.
That's right.
We've got another question from Lady Lynn who says, I really hope that you can help me. My father's an American citizen as well as the whole family except for just 3 of us. Me and my 2 siblings already have our own families. One's married and the other isn't. We've been dreaming to live in the United States and getting reunited with our family and our relatives. How could we go about doing this?
That entire question boiled down to, how do I get a green card?
How do I get a green card if my whole family's in the U.S.?
Call me.
That's
I can't. I don't know what to tell them until I have a consultation with them.
Jovita says, my daughter's a green card holder and plans to petition for us as soon as possible.
Great.
How much time are we going to need to spend, and about how long is the processing time?
Your daughter cannot sponsor you until she's a citizen. So right now, the processing time is forever. When she's a citizen, please write me all over again, and I'll tell you it's about a year.
Marb has a friend who's lived here since 2004, but her visa has unfortunately expired and she's overstayed. She has done odd jobs, has been paying her taxes. Is there anything that she'd be able to do outside of marriage to get a work permit or a green card?
That's the same question. How do I get a green card?
I ask them the way they're written.
Okay. All the how do I get a green card, you need to have a consultation with me.
Rowena says, my father was born in the U.S., but he died 55 years ago, and we don't exactly know where he was born. My daughter is also married to an American. I've applied for a tourist visa and have been denied 3 different times. How can I get a tourist visa?
This is your father was born in America.
So father was born in America, but they don't really know where, and now her daughter is married to an American citizen. So I'm assuming daughter is at least a green card holder at this point.
It's possible that you're a U.S. citizen. Because if your father was a U.S. citizen and he lived in the United States for 10 years prior to your birth, then you're an automatic U.S. citizen. So maybe we should be talking about getting you a passport and not a U.S. passport and not a visitor's visa. How do we go about finding all this information out about your father. Well, they were able to find out that Mike Pence's grandparents didn't speak English for 10 years.
John Kelly.
John Kelly. Thank you. I don't even remember my own schmoozing. That was from schmoozing from yesterday.
Yeah.
So there's always ways to unearth all the genealogy that we need, and we don't even need the genie in a bottle. So have the consultation with me.
Michaela said, all my family is here. They're legal residents or citizens, including my mom and grandparents. I came on a B1 visa, sought asylum. I'm pending an interview, have an EAD. I've been married for 2 years with my wife who's waiting for her citizenship interview. We have one kid. We've got one kid and another one on the way. Congrats. Should my wife go ahead and file for me now or wait until she's got her citizenship? It's been 9 months that she's still waiting on her interview.
She'll be a citizen within the next few months. Just hold on her citizenship, then come see me, because you got to withdraw the asylum and then file the adjustment.
Charmaine said, sorry.
Last question, because we're at the end of our show.
Oh my God, I've got two more.
All right,
Can
so
I
let's do
squeeze
two more. Two more.
Okay. Charmaine said, I have my green card interview. About how long am I going to have to wait to hear from you? I'm a client of yours, and Jenny Kim is my attorney, and I love the show. And the firm, I'm assuming.
I'll call you right after. I don't know. When are you going to hear from me about what?
No. When are they going to hear from like after the interview happens? How long until we hear from immigration?
Oh, it should be 120 days or less.
Okay, that's not, you don't have to sit for too long.
Right.
And our last one from Taylor is, hey Brad, if you're married to a permanent resident, could my husband file for me? I'm in the U.S. and we've been married for 3 years. Will I be able to get my green card here? And if I can, how long is that going to take?
Where is this person?
They're in the U.S.
And on what type of visa?
I don't believe
I actually spaced out on that question. If you could, I was reading Denisha John saying, I so love the show, and I was thinking, oh, that's really nice.
That is
while
really
you were
nice.
talking, and all the words went in one ear and out the other.
It
happens after 2 hours.
I sense it.
Yes.
I sense
so I
it.
said, wait, what? Who? What?
This is what happens when I try to squeeze in one more question.
Right. Say it again.
So she's married to a permanent resident. She's wondering if husband can file for her. She's in the U.S. and they've been married for 3 years. I'm assuming
the answer is yes. Yes,
right?
She's overstayed. Yes,
even though she's overstayed.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
awesome.
and then either the husband will be a citizen or you'll do a provisional waiver, one or the other. Okay, so now we made it through without one telephone call today, the first time ever.
Right.
Right?
I can't believe
Groundhog Sam tore through those phone lines.
Finally.
All right, he said, don't ever call me a doll again.
Yeah, maybe that was it, Brad.
Comments of the day, Belgium Kim.
Comment of the day. Our first one is to Pathrona Collins. And Pathrona said, you see why you should tune into the Brad Show? Always learning something new. And,
way to go.
And Pathrona knows every single day. And then Tamika had one more.
What?
She had a suggestion for you, Brad, when we were talking single/married.
What was the suggestion, Tamika? I'm scared to hear this.
You should get married again, Brad. Look at that face.
All right, everybody. We'll see you all tomorrow. Hopefully we get all our technical difficulties fixed. And maybe I will get married one day. Take care. So, Sam, as part of the production, we have to say this disclaimer at the end of the show. Do you mind reading it for me?
Okay, but you know, Brad, I have to do everything around here. It's bad enough I've got to remember everything that happened on the episode from the previous day.
Forget it. I'll do it. The proceeding was information only and not specific legal advice. Consult an attorney about your individual situation. Prior successful results do not guarantee a similar outcome in the future. To make an appointment with the Spar and Bernstein law firm located at 225 Broadway in New York City, call 1-800-529-5465. That's 1-800-529-5465. Easy to remember, 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-LAWLINK. Once again, make a call to 1-800-529-5465. And of course, link up with the law offices of Spar and Bernstein, located at 225 Broadway on the 5th floor. If I were you out there, make the call, make the link, make the connection, make it Spar and Bernstein. 1-800-LAWLINK. That's 1-800-529-5465. 529-5465, and now conveniently located in Hartford, Connecticut on 1 Congress Street. Visit us in Connecticut or in New York at 225 Broadway. That's 1-800-529-5465, 1-800-LAW-LINK, 1-800-529-5465. What are you doing?